What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book video. Okay, guys, so we are actually going to continue our coverage over John Byrne's Wonder Woman's run. Now, when it comes to John Byrne's run on Wonder Woman, his goal was to bring new life to the title. Now, when I say that, I don't really mean that the character was doing really bad or anything. It's just that at that point in time in DC Comics, really in all comics, comic books were struggling. Of course, it was the 90s, the middle of the 1990s, where comics were beginning to struggle, and DC the most. And DC was trying their best to do anything they can to bring new life to all of their books, including Wonder Woman. And so they brought over John Byrne. Now, John Byrne is a great writer and also an artist as well. But on top of that, because this man already had some great stories under his belt at this point, with his name being on the book, a lot of fans wanted to see what this man was going to do with Wonder Woman. Now, when it came to his run, he did create a bunch of different characters, and some of those characters fans really did love. One in particular, and that character is Cassandra Sandmark. This is the first story that she ever appeared in DC Comics. John Byrne made her and of course gave us the future Wonder Girl. And so let's go ahead and dive into today's storyline. And so getting into today's video, we actually do pick up with Wonder Woman. Now remember, she had just moved to Gateway City. And so right now she is trying to find a job. Now, the reason why she had just moved to Gateway City is because John Byrne realized something, that when it came to Diana, she did not have her own city like Batman and Superman, because Batman has Gotham, Superman has Metropolis. But when it came to Wonder Woman, she did not have a city to herself. And so this was John Byrne saying, let's change that. Let's give her her own city. And so Gateway City became her own personal town. Now, with that being said, though, with her being in Gateway City, she has to find a job. And so right now she is trying to get a job at the Gateway City Museum. Now, this makes sense because with her knowing a lot about Greek artifacts, she's perfect for the Greek department at the museum. And the person that she's going to have an interview with is Helena Sandmark. Of course, the mother to Cassandra Sandmark, and Cassandra is going to be Wonder Girl very soon. This is our first appearance of Cassandra Sandmark in DC Comics. Now, with that being said, right off the bat, we get the chance to actually see how Cassandra is in DC Comics in the 1990s. And of course, she's your usual teenage character, the one who believes that she's old enough to do whatever she wants, and her mom is saying no, and I'm going to shut down those ideas of yours right here and now. Because when we actually pick up with Diana at the museum, meeting Helena and Cassandra, is Cassandra want to go to a party and Helena is saying no because she broke curfew earlier in the month. And so technically she is grounded. And so you do have Helena and Diana leave to go ahead and do their interview. Now, this leads us into the crazy story we're covering today, because while you have Helena and Diana walk away to do the interview, you have Cassandra think that if she's able to clean off a statue that her mom had found recently, maybe her mom will let her go to a party tonight. And so you have Cassandra begin to clean off this new statue that her mom had found and brought over to the museum. And so this leads us into today's problem, because while you have Cassandra right now cleaning off the statue for her mom, hoping that when her mom comes back, she'll be proud of her and then let her go to a party tonight, well, that is the moment you have Cassandra find a switch on the statue. Now, most people should ignore a switch like this unless you know what it is going to do. But when it comes to Cassandra, she's like, you know what, let me go ahead and just flip the switch. And when she does, the statue actually comes to life. And so in the middle of Diana and Helena's interview, well, that is the moment you have the museum being attacked by the statue. Now, this statue is actually trying to chase down Cassandra because she was the one who had actually turned on the statue. Either way, right now, you have Diana say, okay, you know what? let me go ahead and be a hero. Let me go ahead and change my outfit and try to fight this statue before Cassandra gets killed because apparently she turned on the statue somehow. Now for Diana, she does believe that this should be an easy task because this is just a statue. The problem is though, when she actually does hit the statue does not crumble. And matter of fact, it gets right back up and wants to continue to fight against Diana, which does tell Diana something is different about this statue because it is a statue and she has super strength, meaning that it should have easily crumbled. But right now it's not crumbling, and right now it wants to continue to fight her, but to also get Cassandra. Now, Diana does tell us that the way the statue was made, it was made to be a Trojan horse, but it was also made to attack the person who actually activates the statue. And of course, that was Cassandra. And so if that makes sense on why it wants to actually kill off Cassandra. But here's the thing, every time Diana punches it, it gets bigger in size, which means that it's also getting stronger. Now, that is the moment where you have John Byrne remind us that when it comes to the storyline, Diana fighting against the statue is not the main plot line for today's video. The main plot line for today's video is actually what's going on with Morgan Le Fay. Now, remember, she was a bad guy we saw in our last video, but she was part of the backup plot line B. But of course, now she's the main bad guy for this storyline. Now, when it comes to Morgan Le Fay, what she wants to do right now with Diana, but also another character known as Jason Blood, she wants to take away their abilities to live forever. Because when it comes to Morgan Le Fay, she also has that ability in a way where she's able to live forever, except every single time her body grows old, she has to do a ritual as a way to reset her body to look young again. The problem is though, the ritual is a very painful ritual where she has to burn away her oldness. And so the reason why she wants Diana and Jason Blood is so that she can take away their abilities to live forever, but to also look young forever as well. And so her body will also be young, but really powerful. And so that is why she wants Jason Blood and Diana. Now, she is going to go after Jason Blood first. Now, if you're new to DC Comics, you have no idea who Jason Blood is. Well, Jason Blood is actually an old DC character, but he is connected to a demon known as Etrigan the Demon. And those two characters are actually connected to one another, and they have been for a very long time, where Jason Blood is actually able to turn into Etrigan the Demon. It is another reason why he's able to live forever. And so that is why Morgan Le Fay wants him for, so that she'll be able to use him to get Diana, but then once that's done, take away both of their abilities to live forever. And so getting back over to Diana, right now you have Diana trying her best to fight against the statue, but unfortunately, she is struggling right now. She can't win against the statue because every punch and kick, the statue gets bigger, the statue gets stronger. And on top of that, the statue has great tracking skills as well, where it has the ability to actually track down Cassandra so easily because Cassandra was the one who had turned on the statue in the first place. And because the statue was made that way where to hunt down whoever had turned it on, it right now wants to kill off Cassandra. And that is the only way to actually stop the statue, when the statue does kill off the person who had turned it on. And that was Cassandra. And so you have Diana wondering what in the world can she do to actually stop the statue. But then she remembers that when it comes to the statue, it's very heavy, and heavier things are, the faster it will sink in the ocean. And so she does take the statue over to the ocean, and technically it falls into the ocean, and because it's so heavy, it falls to the bottom of the ocean, just stuck there for the time being until it's actually able to escape the ocean and then come back to the city to look for Cassandra. But for right now, the statue has been stopped. And so after that, you do have Diana and Cassandra go back to the museum, where of course they do catch up with Helena. And when they do, they're able to all chat and relax finally. Now, Diana does get hired, but you didn't have Helena ask Diana, hey, listen, is that going to happen every single day because you work here? And you have Diana say, don't worry, it should not happen again. But unfortunately, it will happen again in the next chapter. But then we jump over to another character. And that character is the Phantom Stranger. Now, listen very carefully. When it comes to the Phantom Stranger, this is one of those characters in DC Comics that has like 15 different origin stories because DC has no idea what they want to do with the character. And so with that being said, when it comes to Phantom Stranger, he's technically one of those characters who has 15 origins. Okay, not 15, maybe like 6. Either way, the dude has a lot of different origins. Either way, most of his origins are tied to God in some kind of way. Like, for example, one origin says that he is a fallen angel. There's also another one where technically when he was about to kill himself to go to heaven, he was stopped by an angel and forced to walk across the earth for eternity. Like, there's so many different origins for this character. Either way, he is a very powerful character. Now, with that being said, though, right now, Phantom Stranger is trying to track down Jason Blood. But unfortunately, when he does go to Jason Blood's house, he's too late because Morgan Le Fay and her assistant Warley were able to grab Jason Blood and take him away. And so getting into the second chapter of today's video, we actually do pick up with Wonder Woman right now enjoying life because right now she has a new city. She also has some new friends from this story, but the last one as well. And so this is her right now really adjusting to this new life of hers. And matter of fact, she has a job that she actually loves. Now, with that being said, when she does arrive at her job for her first official day, she does run into Cassandra Sandmark. Now, I really do like this idea right here with John Byrne because he's trying to tell us right off the bat that when it comes to Cassandra, she's going to be somewhat important down the road for some unknown purpose. Now, we do know why because she'll become Wonder Girl. But back in the 1990s, we had no idea. But you can tell that he actually cared a lot for this character. And the reason why, because he's right now trying to build that relationship between Diana and Cassandra, because she's not Wonder Girl just yet. But either way, it's Diana kind of enjoying her first day at work. But then she does run into Cassandra's mother, Helena, and Helena says something very important to Diana. That apparently a guy known as Professor Warley, and of course we already know that Warley is the assistant to Morgan Le Fay, but either way, Professor Warley had appeared at the museum looking for Diana, but unfortunately she was not there yet. Either way, he did stop by and left her a gift. Now, the gift he did leave her behind is apparently a tapestry. A tapestry is this very thick fabric, and on that fabric you usually have some kind of pictures or designs on the fabric. Now, most times it's hung on the wall and occasionally used to cover up furniture. Either way, apparently, Warley came by looking for Diana and left behind this tapestry. Now, the problem is, though, the pictures on it is from a different time period that Diana has no idea about. And so she's wondering why this guy named Professor Warley came by and left her this to look at, to study. Because again, the piece for it is from a different time period that she has no idea about. Now, that is the moment where we do jump over to Warley. Now, when we jump over to Warley, we have to remember that Warley is actually the assistant to Morgan Le Fay. Now, remember, Morgan Le Fay wants Diana and Jason Blood so that she'll be able to live forever. Because when it comes to Diana, one of her many gifts from the gods was to be able to actually live forever. And so right now, she wants that gift from Diana so she'll be able to live forever. Now, with all that being said, though, you didn't have Diana actually call up Warley because Warley is the assistant to Morgan Le Fay. Either way, when she does call up Warley, she does tell Warley that she loves the piece. It does look pretty amazing and all, but the problem is, though, it's from a time period that she has never studied before. And so, unfortunately, she can't help him. But because Warley works for Morgan Le Fay, honestly, he did not leave that piece there for her to study. He wanted her to touch it. And the reason why, because as soon as she touched it, everything on that painting or that piece or that fabric, whatever, it came to life. And now the museum is being attacked once again, except this time with more different kind of creatures to actually attack the museum, but to attack Diana this time. Not Cassandra, but Diana. And so right now, it's up to her to hopefully protect the people in this place right now, but to figure out what in the world is up with Professor Warley. And so then we jump over to Diana. Now, when we do jump over to Diana, this is her right now trying to figure out how in the world is she going to actually beat these creatures. Now, it's kind of like what we saw in the last chapter where Diana tried everything she can against that statue and nothing she did actually worked. And so right now, everything she's trying to do is now working because these creatures are able to actually overpower her in all types of ways. And so right now it does look like she may lose. Now, there is something else I do want to mention. The Phantom Stranger is there as well. And matter of fact, you do have the Phantom Stranger being able to get people out of there so that no one will get hurt while Diana is trying to fight against this creature or these creatures, because more than one. Either way, that is the moment you have Helena save the day. And the reason why, because Helena realized that these creatures came from a piece of fabric, and fabric can burn very easily, which means that these creatures are also fabric, just magic fabric. Either way, they most likely can burn. And so that is the moment she does literally light these creatures on fire, and they die just like that. The day is saved. And so luckily for Diana, she has friends around her who can help her save the day, just like right now. Now that is the moment where you do have Wonder Woman run into Phantom Stranger. And you do have the Phantom Stranger trying to tell her that he's here to actually help her because he feels like someone is after her, but unfortunately he has no idea who is after her. Now that is the moment she does pull the card out that was given to her by Helena that said Professor Warley. Of course, Warley being the assistant to Morgan Le Fay. And as soon as you had her tell Phantom Stranger that, he's like, oh my gosh, that right there gives me a clue. And now we know which direction to actually go with when it comes to this detective work now. Because now I know who's actually behind all of this mess. But that is the moment where we actually jump over to a new character known as Dr. Lazarus. Now, when it comes to Dr. Lazarus, unfortunately, he's not going to be that important for today's storyline. It's really more John Byrne trying to set up the next storyline down the road. But at the same time, though, when it comes to Dr. Lazarus, he's not really an important character when it comes to Wonder Woman comics. But for this story and the next one, he will be. Either way, right now you have Dr. Lazarus in his laboratory with all his assistants and also his son, Chris. Now, when it comes to his son, Chris, apparently Chris lost his cat. His cat died a while back. And so right now, when it comes to Dr. Lazarus, he's trying to make a virtual clone of his son's cat as a way to give his son a gift, saying, hey man, listen, I understand you lost your cat, and so I'll be able to make you a virtual cat who looks just like your cat to be with you. Now, here's the big thing though. Once he's able to actually bring this virtual cat to life, where it seems like Chris may be able to actually play with this virtual cat, something big happens, a huge explosion. And of course, with that explosion, a lot of people got hurt. Now, you do have Dr. Lazarus being able to get back up, but the one person who cannot get back up right now is Chris, and it does look like Chris is actually dead. Now, that is the moment where we do jump back over to Morgan Le Fay and her assistant Warley. Now, when we do, this is Morgan Le Fay right now finding out that her plan to capture Wonder Woman had failed. But on top of that, that is the moment she comes to find out that she has now teamed up with, of course, the Phantom Stranger. And when it comes to Morgan Le Fay, she knows that when it comes to the Phantom Stranger, he is a very powerful character. He can literally stop their plans completely. And so right now, it's her freaking out because she knows if he's involved, everything is going to fail. And so that is the moment she says, you know what? We had just captured Jason Blood earlier, and I should be able to use Jason Blood against the Phantom Stranger, but also Wonder Woman, and hopefully he'll be able to actually capture her and bring her back over here to me. And so that is the moment we see as she's able to turn Jason Blood into his Etrigan the Demon form as a way to go after Wonder Woman. And so getting into the third chapter, we actually do pick up right now with Diana, and we see her right now at the home of the Sandmarks, where of course she's right now talking about everything going on. But at the same time, she's trying to get her friend Mike caught up. Now, Mike is a cop that we met in our first video. And matter of fact, this guy right now is having a hard time believing about magic and demons, even though this guy in our last video met Darkseid, went to Themyscira, saw all these different kinds of things. The dude went to Apocalypse. And right now, homeboy is having a hard time believing in the idea of demons and magic. Either way, once Diana is able to catch him up, that is the moment they realize someone is coming towards the house. Except that is the moment she's been confronted by Etrigan the Demon. Now remember, Etrigan the Demon is right now under Morgan Le Fay's control. And so right now you have Etrigan coming after Diana and trying to kill her off. Now with that being said though, you do have Diana being able to hold her own against Etrigan, but she does realize that Etrigan is literally as strong as she is, which means that this is not going to be an easy battle. This one of those battles where she's going to have to actually think of something if she wants to be able to make it out of this fight. And unfortunately, she may not make it out of this fight. But either way, it's now Etrigan the Demon fighting against Wonder Woman. And that is the moment where we do jump over to plotline B. And when I say plotline B, I really mean we actually pick back up with Dr. Lazarus, because this is John Byrne once again trying to build up this character for a later story, maybe the next one. Either way, right now, we do pick up with Dr. Lazarus, his ex-wife, and his in-laws right now at the hospital, just waiting for good news about their son. Because remember, at that lab, there was an explosion when Dr. Lazarus was trying to give Chris a clone of his dead cat, a computerized clone of his dead cat. Either way, with that explosion happening, of course, right now, you have everybody wondering if Chris is going to make it out okay, because he was the only one seriously injured. Unfortunately, though, you do have Dr. Lazarus walk out to tell his ex-wife and his in-laws that their grandson/son is dead. He died, and there was nothing he could do to save their son's life. Now, of course, this right here is going to lead into his villain story, trying to bring his son back to life. And of course, it may cause problems down the road in later books. But getting back over to Diana, who's right now fighting against Etrigan the Demon, their battle does go on for a few more pages, actually. And matter of fact, Diana's having a hard time actually winning this battle. And so it does seem like she may lose this battle, but of course, that is the moment you have the Phantom Stranger come back. Now, when he does come back, he does have a particular item that can actually help them win against Etrigan the Demon. And that item is the Philosopher's Stone. And when it comes to that stone, it has the ability to break any kind of control over someone if that control is magic. And so right now, when it comes to Etrigan the Demon, he is being controlled by magic thanks to Morgan Le Fay. And so you do have Phantom Stranger use the stone on him to actually break the control, and now Jason Blood is back to normal. He actually does change back all the way over into his Jason Blood form. And so then we see everyone go back over to the home of the Sandmarks. Now, when we actually do see that, we do see them right now listening to Jason Blood, because right now you have Jason Blood telling them about the idea of Morgan Le Fay, how she is the one behind all of this. And you do have Jason Blood tell Diana and everyone else that the reason why she's after Diana but also him is because their abilities to actually live forever. She wants that ability so then she could be able to live forever. Because remember, Morgan Le Fay can live forever, but she has to constantly do a ritual over and over again as a way to kind of reset her clock on her body so that she'll be able to live a tad bit longer, but to also look young again. And so right now she wants Jason Blood, but also Diana so that she can live forever, but also look young as well. With that being said, you now have everybody saying they have to go stop Morgan Le Fay. And so you do have Jason Blood say that he'll turn back into Etrigan the Demon and team up with the Phantom Stranger and Diana to hopefully stop Morgan Le Fay. But then we jump back over to Morgan Le Fay. And when we do, we kind of find out that Morgan Le Fay is very upset about the idea that now Jason Blood is now helping out Diana and Phantom Stranger. And again, she wants Jason Blood and Diana so that she'll have the ability to actually live forever. And so right now she's telling us, the readers, that she is going to send someone else to go after Jason Blood and Diana to bring them back over to her so that she'll have the ability to actually live forever. And that is the moment we kind of find out that she is going to send Orion to go after Jason Blood and also Wonder Woman. And the reason why, because Orion is actually a very powerful sorcerer. And matter of fact, he comes from the ancient times of Atlantis. And so he's a very powerful sorcerer who will be able to actually capture Jason Blood and Diana. And so getting into the final chapter of today's video, we actually do pick up with Diana, Phantom Stranger, and also Etrigan the Demon arriving at the place that Morgan Le Fay stays at. Now, when they do arrive, of course, they are confronted by a bunch of different kinds of obstacles that were put there as a way to keep people out. But for Morgan Le Fay, she's hoping that these obstacles will be able to actually defeat the three heroes so that she'll be able to drain their energies from them so she'll be able to live forever. Now, of course, we do get a few pages of our heroes trying to deal with these different kinds of obstacles. But after a couple pages, they are able to actually move on to the next phase of their plan, which is to hopefully stop Morgan Le Fay. And so that is the moment where you do have our heroes actually be confronted by Orion. Now remember, Orion's from ancient Atlantis, but on top of that, he is a very powerful sorcerer and could be a challenge for our heroes if our heroes were by themselves. But because it's 3 against 1, it's honestly not a fair fight for Orion. And so while their battle does continue on, you did have Diana being able to actually get close enough to use the Philosopher's Stone on Orion as a way to break Morgan Le Fay's control. And so they believe that they have actually won, except that is the moment we come to find out that technically when it came to Etrigan the Demon, there were 2 different kinds of symbols on his body. One on the front of his head and the other one on the back of his head, which means that when we had the Phantom Stranger use the Philosopher's Stone on Etrigan, he only destroyed 1 symbol that belonged to Morgan Le Fay. There was a second symbol that still lets Etrigan be controlled by Morgan Le Fay. And so you didn't have Etrigan being able to actually knock out Phantom Stranger, but at the same time, Orion was not officially broken free from Morgan Le Fay's control. And so he also knocks out Diana, which means that now Morgan Le Fay is able to actually win, and she might be able to drain the energy of our heroes so that she'll be able to live forever. But getting back over to Dr. Lazarus, we actually do see him right now in his laboratory once again, but this is going to begin his adventure in becoming a villain, or most likely creating a villain for the next storyline. Because right now, you do have him trying to bring his dead son back to life. Because remember, Chris died in that explosion because Dr. Lazarus was trying to bring back his son's dead cat back to life. But now he is trying to bring his son back to life by using the same tech he had in the past. Unfortunately, though, all his assistants right now are calling him crazy because they remember what happened last time when he tried to bring something back to life computerized. There was a huge explosion. And so you do have one of his assistant tells him, listen, what you're trying to do is very dangerous. And unfortunately, it could cause another explosion. So you need to be very careful. Either way, he ignores what she says because he wants to have his son back to life. He wants to be able to actually communicate with his son. And so we do see him in the process trying to make a computerized version of his son. And so that is the moment where we do jump over to our heroes. And when we do, we kind of find out that Morgan Le Fay has technically won. Because right now she has our heroes connected to a machine that's going to feed her their energy so that she'll be able to live forever. So Phantom Stranger, Etrigan, and also Diana are all connected to the machine right now. But on top of that, we do see 3 other characters. Of course, one of those 3 characters is Orion. The other 2 is Vandal Savage, and other one is Dr. Immortus. Either way, these 6 characters all have the ability to actually live forever. And so right now, it's Morgan Le Fay trying to take that away from them so then she'll have the ability to actually live forever. And so right now you do have her say, let's begin the ritual and hopefully I'll be able to take your powers away. And so that is the moment where we actually do pick up with Morgan Le Fay going the mind of Diana. And the reason why, because when it comes to Morgan Le Fay, she wants something else from Diana. And that something else is Diana's ability to be a great warrior. She wants her skills as a warrior. And so right now you do have Morgan Le Fay saying, listen, I'm going to take away your ability to live forever, but also your skills as a warrior. Because if I get those skills, then I'll be able to do a whole lot more damage to the world. And so they do fight inside her mind. Now, while they're fighting, Diana is slowly losing her warrior skills. But then she realized what she must do if she wants to actually defeat Morgan Le Fay. And that is literally just give up. If she gives up, she'll be able to actually defeat Morgan Le Fay. And that is the moment we kind of find out that Morgan Le Fay's plan actually failed. And the reason why I'm saying that because it comes to Diana, because that is the moment we kind of find out Diana does not have the ability to live forever at all. Because Diana tells us that when she left Themyscira, she lost that ability. Because when it came to the Greek gods, they gave the Amazons the ability to live forever as long as they live on the island. But because she left the island, she lost that ability. And so when it came to Morgan Le Fay's device, trying to drain the energy of our 6 characters who she thought had the ability to actually live forever, because of Diana, the machine backfired and it actually killed off Morgan Le Fay. And so with her death, you have everybody being able to break free and they go their separate ways just like that. The story is literally wrapped up just like that. You even have Warley just walk away like, hey, oh, she's gone now, so I'm now a free man. Bye. And that literally ends the story. And so with that being said, this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. Also, if you have any suggestions on books I should read, well, please let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But guys, I'll see y'all next time. Later.